In today's video, I'm going to share 10 tips to help you improve your kickboxing or your overall striking performance. Tip number 1, prioritize skill over anything else. There's no point trying to throw powerful kicks, fast punches, powerful punches, okay? Because end of the day is, okay, you're building bad habits. So better start slow and gradually build it up, okay? The more efficient you become in your skill, the more power, the more speed you can put behind your punches and your kicks. What I like to teach to my students is the slower you go, the quicker you will learn, okay? So when you start off, focus on taking your time with everything you do and then gradually build it up. Tip number 2 is maintaining good base, okay, good balance. Because when you throw your strikes, okay, or even when your opponent's throwing good strikes, if you've not got a good base, okay, you can go over on your bottom, okay? You can get put to the canvas, and we don't want that, because if our opponent throws something, even if it's not a heavy shot, and he throws a punch, okay, or a kick, we go on the canvas, okay, it scores big for our opponent. Whether we throw our punches, whether we throw our kicks, or whether we absorb our opponent's punches and kicks, we want to make sure, okay, we got everything nice and strong, good base, good balance, okay, moving around, keeping everything nice and tight, throwing our punches, throwing our kicks. When we throw our punches and kicks, making sure we're not falling over, okay? So number 2 is maintaining you've got a good balance, good base. Tip number 3 is make sure you keep your guard or focus on good defense, okay? Because it's not just about going in there and then throwing your strikes and expecting nothing to come back, because that's not how the fight game works, okay? When you go in, you're gonna throw your punches and they're always gonna throw something back. So make sure you keep your guard nice and tight, okay? And you focus on your defense. Whether you shadow box and you do back work, okay? You throw your punches, okay? Make sure you keep your hands nice and tight. Include your little leg defenses here, okay? Shin blocks. We're focusing on good defense, okay? Because the game is not just about hitting your opponent, it's also making sure we don't get hit. And one of the best ways to stop them landing a clean shot is just by making sure our hands stay nice and tight and we're always ready to defend. Okay? Just make sure you breathe, okay? So when you're throwing your punches or you're moving, you need to make sure that you always breathe, okay? Because if I'm going to attack my opponent and I'm just going holding my breath, there's no oxygen going to my lungs, which means I'm going to get more fatigued, more tired quicker. So every time you throw a strike, whether it's a punch, kick, knee, okay, you make sure you breathe, okay? Every strike you throw, have that little breath. Push that carbon dioxide out and inhale that oxygen in with every single attack movement, okay? So even when you move here, okay, so I'm moving sideways, so I want to make sure I constantly breathe. And the same applies, okay, when you're getting hit, okay? Because that's another thing people tend to do is when they get hit, they just tense up, engage everything nice and tight, and they forget to breathe. No, okay, it doesn't work that way, because if you just go hold everything up and you're trying to throw your punches, you're going to get tired, you're going to get gassed. Breathe, okay, when you throw your punches. Breathe when you move, and then even breathe when your opponent's attacking you, okay? Because we want to make sure we always stay in the game, and the less we breathe, okay, the more fatigue we're going to get. Make sure you can change between being fast and powerful. So we want to be staying nice and light on our feet, okay? We come in, we throw our shots and we disengage, okay? We're just trying to make our opponent react, okay? And then once we get that reaction from our opponent, okay, now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to change up. We get inside, we plant our feet, and now we unlock that power, and then we disengage. We go nice and light on our feet, okay? Back inside, throw our big punches, okay? Disengage. Next time we come in, we go fast, okay? So we always change between speed and power, okay? Because if we always go in trying to hit heavy bombs, we're gonna fatigue ourselves. So we have to time our attacks. So we go in fast, and then we set our feet and we go in powerful. You're diverse, okay? You're diverse in your attacks. So, for example, I come in, I throw hands, and I finish with my kick, and I disengage. I come in, I throw hands, and I finish with my kick, and I disengage. So what that does is, it creates a pattern for my opponent to be able to read, okay? So every time I come in, I attack, I throw my kick, and I disengage. So he knows as soon as I finish with that kick, I'm gonna go away, and as soon as I go away, that's his chance to come in. So what I want you to start thinking now is sometimes, okay, you go in, you throw your hands, jab, cross hook, low kick, okay, and then you disengage. Jab, cross hook, low kick, disengage. Next time, maybe you come in, you go jab, cross, hook, you throw that low kick, you throw your knee, you throw your cross, you throw your hook, and then you disengage. So make sure you mix up your combinations. Don't always have the same pattern of attack. So you attack, you sell something, you attack, you sell something, and as soon as your opponent starts reacting to it, then we change it up, okay? Mix the patterns of our combinations, of our attacks, to make sure that our opponent can't read us, because the more they can read us, the easier it is for them to counter us. Is adding feint into it, because when you kickbox, you need to make sure that you feint. Restart. Tip number 6 is add feints into your attacks. Do any sport, whether it's kickboxing, boxing, Thai boxing, MMA, okay? You start throwing your shots and eventually your opponent starts reading them, okay? So what you want to start doing is you want to add a little feint into it. For example, I'm going to establish my cross with my opponent. So every time I throw that cross, now I make sure my opponent's like, I put a lot of power into my shot. So I throw that cross, I put power into it, bam, bam. So next time I throw that cross, okay, I see my opponent's tucking in now, okay? He's afraid from that cross because I've established it. But because I've established it now and he's afraid of me, I can't land it, because every time I go to throw it, he just tucks in and he absorbs the force into his gloves. So what we're going to do now is, as we throw that jab, we're going to show the cross, we're going to feint it, and then let's throw a body kick, okay? Or we go low kick, okay? So we sell our punch, we sell our kicks, okay? And then we change up the technique. If I want to throw jab, low kick, jab, low kick, my opponent starts reacting now. So what I do next is I go jab, I show the low kick, I go lead hook, cross, maybe go low kick again, or I could go body kick. Make sure you incorporate feints in your training, in your sparring, in your pad work, bag work. Whether you throw your punches or kicks, you need to make sure that you rotate your hips to be able to get the power, okay? Because remember, everything you throw comes from the ground up, okay? Whether I throw my punch, okay, or my kick, it's on the hip rotation. Where the hip goes, the shoulders will follow. Where the hip goes, the legs will follow, okay? So when we throw our punches or when we throw our kicks, we make sure we put everything from our hips, okay? Because that way we'll generate power. At first, it might feel a bit unusual, okay? And uncomfortable, but with practice, it'll become like a second nature to you, okay? So the more skillful you get, the more fitter you'll become as well. But don't forget, kickboxing or any combat sport is a highly intense sport. It requires a lot of energy. So you also need to make sure that you're focusing on conditioning your body. Whether it's throwing punches, throwing kicks, okay, or taking punches, taking kicks. So make sure you focus on conditioning as much as you focus on your skill work. Focus on your kicks, okay? So with your kicks, you can go mid, so you can go low, you can go mid, you can go high, you can go roundhouse kicks, okay? You can go front kicks or teeps, okay? We go low, we go mid, we go high, okay? So make sure you focus on practicing your kicks, okay? Because as soon as you incorporate your kicks in your sparring and your fights, okay, now you've got a bigger arsenal of weapons. So it's called kickboxing for a reason. So make sure you also don't just focus on your punches, but you focus on different ways of setting up your kicks. And this is the most important tip, and it's being able to read your opponent, to be able to come up with a strategy how to fight your opponent. Because let's say we go in that fight, okay, and I'm just throwing my punches and throw my kicks, and my opponent does exactly the same thing, okay? So I might win the fight, but we both come out being up. So what I want to be able to do is, I want to be able to get in, I want to throw my kicks, I want to throw my punches, and then disengage before he has the ability to throw his strikes back, okay? So come up with a great strategy. Even if he throws his strikes and I'm countering, and I make sure I land my strikes before he disengages, okay? Always finishing last. Because it's not just about being able to hit your opponent, it's being able to hit your opponent and then don't get hit back. Be able to read your opponent, okay? So be able to see what he does, how he does it, what mistakes he makes in a fight, so that you can be able to counter them. Those are my top 10 tips for improving your kickboxing and striking skills. As always, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.